Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar. As always, this is Dr. Ahmed Al-Gattan, the founder of ITAR Group. Every week we have a new keynote speaker and also a new topic that the keynote speaker presented to the audience, and enjoy our time and know something new. Before we start, let me introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Wissam Al-Madhoun. Dr. Wissam is a global climate and sustainability leader. He is the founder of a global entity, Global Ambassadors of Sustainability, which has more than 13,300 members from 130 countries. Dr. Wissam holds a fellowship on sustainability cities at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, postdoctoral fellowship at Malaysia, Japan International Institute of Technology, and a PhD of environmental engineering from University since Malaysia. He has 18 years of working experience teaching, training, research, and consultants, where he had assignment in Brunei, Canada, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Palestine, South Korea, and USA, and other countries. Dr. Wissam conducted several international training programs on sustainability development, climate change, air pollution, and environmental assessment in terms of publications. He has more than 55 papers published at international peer-reviewed journals and international conferences. He is the co-founder of the Middle East SDG Academy as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Wissam, for accepting my invitation. Before you start, you have 45 minutes to present your topic, and then we'll open the floor for any question. This webinar, it's live in YouTube. If you have any of the audience want to ask Dr. Wissam, you can ask him after his presentation in Arabic or in English by click or in the Q&A below the screen, or you can raise your hand and you can ask him directly via your mic. Thank you so much, Dr. Wissam. The floor is yours.
Okay, assalamu alaikum and good evening. So thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed, for the invitation. and it's my pleasure to be with you today for this sharing session. So my topic will be on governance for sustainable development. So as we know that we are currently living in a lot of challenges. Those challenges including environmental, economical, and some health issues as well. And just as an introduction on the global outlook of the population of the world, so we can see that the majority of people are living in the developing countries, while if we look at the the creation of the wealth and the income, so it's vice versa. It's focused in the developed countries, while the resources use also it's focused, and it has been utilized in the developed countries. And in terms of waste as well, it is. So, this is showing the gap. This is showing the global injustice in terms of resources distribution. The issue in the resources usage, it is causing a lot of environmental degradation, including wasting, depleting, and degrading the natural resources. And this is happening at an accelerated rate. So the biggest challenges, the biggest threats that we are living in, we are talking about air pollution, climate change, soil erosion, water pollution, aquifer depletion, declining of ocean fisheries, and species extinction, shrinking of forests. And recently, and for the last few years, we are facing this COVID-19 pandemic, the COVID-19. So in terms of number of these challenges, we start with the COVID-19. So far, we have more than 6.6 million people died because of the coronavirus. While if we compare that to the number of fatalities due to the disasters that the humanity faced since 1900, so we can see here that in 1930, in 1 year, the humanity lost more than 3.5 people because of the disasters, including the flooding, extreme heat, mass movement, wildfires, volcanic eruptions, and all these types of disasters. I'm just trying to give you numbers so that we can have some kind of quantitative comparison between all these challenges, and then we reflect that on the economy side as well. And later, at the later part, we talk about the importance and the influence of governance in the whole system of sustainability. So again, in numbers, I mentioned about the challenges, including the pollution, air, water, and soil. So these type of pollutants causing 9 million deaths every year globally. And this is greater than the impact of tobacco smoke, AIDS and malaria, alcohol risk, road accidents, war and murders. And if you can see here, the number of people die because of the pollution. So it's 3 times the number of people die because of AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. And it is 15 times more than people died because of war and murder in the whole world. So in terms of challenges, pollution, talking about air, water, and soil, and other types of pollutants, air pollution is the most serious. So just technically, if we detail the impact of air pollution, so when we inhale those pollutants, it just takes 7 seconds for those pollutants to be digested and to go into our bloodstream. So this is showing the seriousness. It's very quickly. We don't have choices to breathe or not to breathe, because we have to breathe to keep alive. But if there is a polluted water, we can see the pollution, we decide whether to drink or not. But breathing, we have no choice, we have to breathe. And we have also to recognize and also know that we are breathing every day 11,000 liters. And one more issue related to air pollution, that it is the root cause of global warming. It's the root cause of climate change. So that's why it's the most serious type of pollutants that we are facing. Plus, this report from WHO, which says that 70 million people dying every year because of air pollution. And those people die because of stroke, heart disease, lung cancer, and other types of disease. So the 7 million, we are talking about 2 million in Southeast Asia, 2 million in Western Pacific, 1 million in Africa, 500,000 in the Eastern Mediterranean, and 300,000 in the Americas. So this is 7 million people. So this is one more graph from WHO that shows the people, majority of people, more than 100% of the people in those countries are living in a condition that they inhale pollutants exceeding the WHO guidelines. So this is, again, another evidence about the numbers of fatalities. And you can see from those countries, many of these countries, we are European countries as well. So this graph shows the number of people, the percentage of people who are exposed to the household air pollution, the indoor environment air pollution, where those people are still relying on the solid fuel burning for cooking and heating. So it's 43% of the people in India, 30% of the people in China, 71% of the people in Nigeria, 81% in Bangladesh, and the lowest here it is at 12% in Thailand. And you can see from those numbers, it is billions of people who are exposed to these types of pollutants. So if you can see here, this is the correlation between the pollutants and the number of deaths in the global community, right? So when you have increased level of pollutants, so you have increased number of people who are dying because, and this is like every 100,000. So it's here 20 out of 100,000 people, right? And you can see the global community here. If in this range, you can see Ethiopia, Senegal, Iran, Algeria, Oman. So, and this is the level of and the numbers of fatalities due to the air pollution. And this is here, it's this table showing the rank of countries according to the level of pollutants. So here, Bangladesh in the top of the list, right? And you can see, like, I think here, Kuwait, we are talking about 25th, and the concentration of the pollutants, 29.7 microgram per meter cube. So now, if we want to reflect that in the economy, what is the cost of the environmental degradation? Because we know when we have pollution, we have health impacts, people are dying or people are getting sick. That influence the economy as in terms of productivity, in terms of degradation of materials, in terms of lower productivity of the agriculture sector. So it has a multiple effect which can cause cost loss in terms of health and natural resources. So the highest here, it is in Ghana, 9.6% of the GDP is being lost because of the environmental degradation. Here, Bangladesh 4%, the lowest here. In the Arab region, we're talking about Tunisia and Jordan, 2.1 and 2.3. There's another report by the World Bank says that in the Middle East, we are talking about 3% of the GDP is being lost every year due to the environmental degradation. So one more serious issue, a challenge that we are facing, all the humanity is facing, is the climate change. And when we talk about climate change, so these are the impacts, the social and economical impact due to the climate change. So we might have impacts due to the cost of adapting coastal areas when the sea level rise. We might have also loss of productivity due to heat. And we might have conflicts due to limited resources. And also we might have fresh water, which will be short in supply. The the cost of basic food might rise, like the current scenario, because of the climate and because of the some of the geopolitics in the global scenario. We might have extreme meteorological phenomena, shrinking of productivity. So all these elements that caused losses. And here in this graph, you can see that the trends of flooding and cyclones are getting greater than earthquakes. And these two types of catastrophe or disaster, it's linked to climate. And that is another evidence of these impacts of the climate disasters. So in terms of cost of the natural disasters, so this is from 2000 to 2020, 2021. And you can see here the levels of losses. This is the economical losses. This is the insured loss. So we are talking about every year more than $400 billion as a result of these disasters. Here, there is another graph shows the staggering cost of climate-linked disasters. So this is the disasters like the cyclones and the tropical storms, hurricanes, which hit the countries, and we can see a lot of evidence recently. So this is from a comparison from 2005 to 2020, and that is spread over the year, because we know in some countries we might have we might face these disasters in the winter or in the summer, but we can see that these disasters might lead to more than $300 billion. In some cases, this is on the monthly basis, or like the previous case on the annual basis. So this is a huge amount of loss, even in terms of economy as well. So this is the numbers from 2020, the total loss that we faced due to the climate-related disasters, 268 billion. We had one single disaster in China that cost 35 billion, the summer flooding. We have 29 disasters, which every year, that is since 1990, every disaster cost $1 billion. And this is $12 billion due to wildfires that hit the world in 2020. So this is some statistics on the disasters that face a few countries in the Asian region. So we are talking about 5 billion people affected, 1 million people died, and a total of $843.6 billion being lost as a physical damage. And this is in Bangladesh, Cambodia, Philippines, Solomon Island, Timor-Leste, Tonga, and Vanuatu. And again, this is more statistics on those disasters from 2014 up to 2018 in India, Pakistan, like including flooding, including mostly these are floodings and earthquakes. And that again, everyone, you can see that it is costing a lot of, more than the lowest is 1.4 or $1 billion. And this is in many over few years. So this is here showing the link of air pollution in terms of health and economy in the same time. So you can see here that the total loss in 2018, the air pollution cost the global economy $2.9 trillion, and 4.5 million people died because of air pollution. So there are some big scenarios here, like the issue of in China, they lost their 1.8 million people, and economic-wise, they lost $900 billion. In the India scenario, 1 million people died, and $150 billion is being lost because of air pollution. So I started showing the numbers on the COVID-19. So let's see the economical impacts of COVID-19 and compare that to the poor health, the poor environmental health. So this is a study by McKinsey. It says that we might have an impact of 8 to 10% of the global GDP that was in 2020 due to the COVID-19. And the same report says that the global community is losing 15% of the global GDP because of the poor health, which cost the global community 15%. So it is, if you compare the numbers, the loss that we are facing in terms of human loss and the economical loss every year, it is more than what we faced because of the COVID-19. On the other hand, if we enhance our environmental health, we will enhance the productivity, and that might add $12 trillion to the global GDP by 2040. So during COVID-19, we got some positive signs, some positive impacts. During the lockdown, we witnessed enhancement in the water quality, in the air quality, and a lot of the environmental elements in the biodiversity as well. But this is to be sustainable. We can't have a lockdown as a strategy, but we have, some holistic approach of development, building back better, utilizing the sustainable development aspects, where we meet the needs of the current generation of the people living now by providing their economic needs. And at the same time, we have to think about the future generation. So we have to maintain and protect the environmental elements. And that is in the context of social justice, inclusion, and maintaining the human rights as a social dimension of sustainability. So the way forward, it has to be more sustainable. We have to adopt these sustainable development strategies, the sustainable development goals, as I will present shortly. So when we talk about businesses and including the environmental elements, so we are talking about the greenhouse gases, we are talking about energy efficiency, resources depletion, hazardous waste, air and water pollution, deforestation. In terms of social, we are talking about human rights, working condition, local and indigenous communities, conflicts, health and safety, employee relations. And in terms of governance, we are talking about executive pay, bribery and corruption, data protection, or independence, tax strategy, transparency, and shareholder rights. So these are the elements that we need to consider in businesses so that it is more sustainable. So now, if you can see here in the graph, the options is in our hand. If we continue our unsustainable practices, then to meet our needs, we need 2 planets. While if we change direction to be more sustainable, then we maintain our needs within the capability of the planet, and we won't face troubles. And that also will avoid the troubles from the future generations. So we have to adopt practically 3 ideas. We have to rely more on the renewable energy from sun or wind. It depends on the scenarios on the global agenda. And we have to preserve the biodiversity. We maintain the environmental protection, so we have a diverse system. And we have to maintain the chemical cycle in the planet, not to overload it with the new chemicals that will, spoil and also deplete the whole ecosystem, and that will cause imbalance. So we have to maintain the ecosystem balance. And also practically, we have a roadmap that shows us how to go about it. And these SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, it was agreed upon in 2015 by the United Nations General Assembly, started from no poverty up to the SDG number 17, which is partnership for the goals, and including also peace and justice, including climate action, quality education, gender equality, clean water. So all these SDGs that's showing us the roadmap to implement sustainability, to convert our lifestyle to be more sustainable. So now as we can see, the governance system is playing a very good and important role, where we are talking about the process of governing, and in the context of sustainability, we're talking about the governance that play a good role in creating the, in setting up the rules, setting up the regulations, so that the people, the communities, and the businesses should abide, so that we have these practices, these positive practices. So the governance is related to the process of interaction and decision making among the actors involved in a collective problem that lead to the recreation and enforcement or reproduction of social norms and institutions. So now we are talking, and it's an accepted argument that governance is one of high relevance in the post-2015 development agenda, the Sustainable Development Agenda. So effective governance institutions and systems are responsive to the public needs, deliver essential services, and promote inclusive growth. So the good governance promote freedom from violence, fear, and crime, and help build peace and secure societies with the stability needed. And there is a consensus that emerging to accept divergence in the way countries develop and improve their system of governance. So improving governance requires action in a wide range of areas, not all of which can be addressed at once, not all can be subject to a global consensus. So the challenge is in integrating governance into the post-2015 development framework, and which is translating experience and evidences from multiple and diverse governance systems into concrete, measurable, and broadly accepted global development goals and targets. So the governance can be also termed as the operation of the four key actors, which is the state, civil society, market, and non-state actor. So the civil society mobilize people participation. The state will create favorable political, legal, and economic environment, and the market will create opportunities for people. So the activities that encompass in the act of governing, we are talking about the rule of law, the to orchestrate all these efforts and control and manage. So the rules of law, we are talking about governments that need to have good laws, institutions, and process in place to ensure accountability, stability, quality, and access to justice. So the cornerstone of good governance is adherence to the rule of law, that is impersonal and impartial application. And the process pushing for governance currently, and here the state become the principal planner, energizer, and promoter, and the director of the accelerated development efforts. And the state has a role in planning for the whole economy and society, and also creating enterprises. So I think this is what I wanted to share with you for today. So thank you so much for listening. And I will be happy to answer if there is any question from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wissam, for your interesting presentation, and also for your time and your effort. Now we'll open the floor for any question. If you have, guys, any question, please, you can write in Q&A, or you can raise your hand so that Dr. Wissam can answer your question. All right, Dr. Wissam, Now we talk about the global change and many other topic that it's hot topic actually nowadays. So what do you think about other than the sustainability is many topics and subject under this general topic, let's say. So you mentioned a lot the war and the coronaviruses and many others. Can you give us the three or the most let's say the most dangerous or the most يعني اي شيء مثلا يكون يعني صعب للمجتمع او to the environment, let's say, other than coronavirus and other than the pollutions. And what do you think?
So I think one of the issues that also affecting the practice, it's the understanding of people about the environment. So means the awareness of people about those challenges. So that's why it is quite interesting when you see these challenges in numbers, how much this cost in terms of life of people and in terms of the cost to the economy. That might open the eyes of the community, the people, so that they convert to be, because the practice of sustainability, it starts from the individuals to the community to the it has to come somewhere in an integrated approach. So we need the understanding of the people. Like, for example, when we are talking about waste management, recycling, all these practices, you need to reach to the audience, to the awareness of people about these topics, because you need to maintain a practice. So the practice should start from the community. That's why another element which is important is the education for sustainability, is to create a community which is being educated, aware about the challenges and about the importance to convert our practices to be more sustainable, because it's not only about taking care of the environment. We have to take care of our health first, because if we pollute the environment, we will have a lot of this disease, and that will cost us a lot of fatalities, as we've seen in the numbers.
Thank you. Dr. Ana, there is one of the institution in Kuwait. Actually, I didn't remember the name exactly, but I will search for it and they will send it to you, inshallah. They offer a fund for any topics that talk about the sustainability. As I said, sustainability nowadays, it's the main topic in globally and also in Kuwait. So many conferences. Yep. And also institutions, they offer a really good fund for researchers. Doctor, for just my last question, what is your next research paper?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you. Yes. Sorry.
Actually. Yeah,
sorry, Mariam, answer the question. The institution called KFAS.
Okay.
KFAS. So they offer. Let me write it to you. KFAS. And there is other one called KASAR, I think. But this institution that they offer the fund. KFAS. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you so much. Yeah, so they offer.
I think, Doctor, you asked about the research paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically, I'm conducting research. Like previously, I did on low carbon cities. So I'm focusing on all these topics that relate to public transport, reducing the emissions. And I also supervise and I produce papers related to climate change. And currently, I'm involved in promoting and developing concepts and materials on the environmental awareness. So, yeah, the main areas that I'm developing, the research, it's on sustainable practices, air pollution, climate change, and environmental impact assessment.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sorry, I have also one extra question regarding the sustainability. Actually, it's not my major, but I really read a lot about it. So my question is about the database. From where we can get the database for the sustainability?
Yeah, actually, it depends on what topic you want to investigate, because I think for like if you want to about the technical fields like pollution, so you have to refer, like if it is local, then you have to refer to the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Health. At the global database, there are some real-time data, open source that you can find. And if you want like to investigate some issues that might also need to design a survey and try to get a response from the community. So it depends on what type of data, and is it local or global. But there are some open source or avenues to get those data.
I see. Thank you so much. Anyone have any question for Dr. Wissam before we end today's presentation? Doctor, they ask about your contact. If you can share your contact, please, in the chat, maybe your email or.
Yeah, I think I will share my LinkedIn and also the email.
All right.
So yeah, we can.
Yeah. If you can share it.
Yes, I will send it here. So, yeah, I share the link and the email here.
Okay, let me share it for everyone so they can see it. All right, so now everyone can see your LinkedIn linked and also your email. All right, I think that's it. Dr. Wissam, I really want to thank you again for your interesting topic and also for your effort and your time. And I hope, inshallah, next time also have another session with you. And I am very sorry for also the previous week regarding the webinar that been cancelled. Thank you so much, Dr. Wissam. And
thank you so much.
Any last word, Dr. Wissam, before we end?
Yeah, just want to thank you so much for the organization and for the invitation. And also I want to thank the audience who joined us. And I'll be looking forward for collaboration with you, Dr. Ahmed, and with anyone from the audience. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Thank you so much, Dr. And thank you, audience, for joining us today. See you, inshallah, next week with our new keynote speaker and a new topic. نشوفكم على خير. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.